So with string slicing, we can actually have empty spaces here. And I know this may be a lot to grasp all at once, but as you do this more and more, it gets a lot easier. So right now, I'm just showing you what is possible with string slicing, and you don't need to memorize all of this. So the next thing we'll look at is having empty spaces. If I have an empty space here, it basically means I'm counting from the very first character. So an empty space to the left of the colon means I'm counting from the beginning, and the empty space on the right means I'm ending at the very last character. So two empty spaces, one before the colon and one after, means I'm printing everything in my string. So I'm going from the very beginning to the very end. So when I run my code, you can see that I'm displaying all the characters. So in that case, if I put, let's say, 1 here, so I'm starting at index 1. I remember I mentioned that a space to the right means I'm going all the way to the end. So this will count from the index number 1, which is the second position, all the way to the end. So when I run my code, you can see that it works just as we expect. And in the same manner, let's say I have a 1 on the right side. So now, if I run this code, I should expect only a single character, since I'm starting from the very beginning and ending at index 1. So one other thing we can do here is to have 3 empty spaces, but that is quite useless. So let's add 2 here. And remember that we mentioned that the third value here indicates how much we're counting by. So this will be every other character. And since we have an empty here and an empty space in the second position, this is basically going to get everything from beginning to end. And since we have 2 in the third position, that means we're going to count every other character. And if I run the code, as you can see, we get the expected results. So another thing we can do here is reverse our string. So a lot of what I've showed you here leads up to this point, which is how we can reverse the characters in our string. So if we have -1 here, it basically means we're counting from the back and we're counting backwards. And a positive number here means we're counting each and every number forward, and a negative means we're counting backwards. And since we have 2 empty spaces here, it basically means we're grabbing everything in our string. So if I run this code, I should expect all of this to be reversed. So as you can see, my string is reversed. And I know this is a lot to grasp at this point, so I'm going to include a reference sheet so that you can take a look at this whenever you need something to reference to. But this is basically what we mean when we say we're doing some string slicing. And to make understanding this a lot easier, the only thing you need to remember is that whatever you have in the very first position here is the starting index, and the second position will be the ending. And if we have a third position, it will be how much we're counting by, or the step amount.